Okay, here we go. Tony's messing with me. That's Tony. Yeah, tell Tony. Come on, Tony. All right, we're going, by gosh. 8th place, here's the number. 83.450. 83.450, Phantom Regiment. I feel so high-tech standing here with a laptop. 7th place, 85.7. 85.7, 7th place, the Cadets. 6th place, 88.9. 88.9, the Cavaliers. 5th place, 90.350. 90.35, Boston Crusaders. 4th place, 91.550. 91.550, Carolina Crown. Third place, 91.625. 91.625, Blue Coats. Second place, 93.175. 93.175, Blue Devils. And our champion tonight with a score of 93.75. 93.75, Santa Clara Vanguard. I think they can hear you in the parking lot. It's been a great season, folks. It's only going to get better as we head toward Indianapolis for the championships. If you can't be there in person, join us in the movie theaters, Big, Loud, and Live, Thursday, August 9th. I'm Steve Rondinero. Thanks for having us. Have a great night. Thanks for coming.
Welcome back to Austin, Texas and the FloMarching Studios for the post-show edition of Taking the Field. I'm Emily Tanner-Patterson, and once again, I'm with Josh Gall. Josh, full night of lots of excellent drum corps.
Yeah, I think we got a great snapshot of what to see, what we're looking at next week and then going into finals week. I think we saw 8 significant drum corps do a great job tonight.
Yeah, and it's great to get to, the regionals are great because we get to see all of the corps and compare all of the scores, but it's really nice to have a tight focus on the folks who are sitting at the top right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that, on the first and second half of the program, we saw, a couple of new things, maybe a couple of things they were trying, and there's still time to, to sort of see exactly what they want to keep and what they want to change, going into Allentown and then into Indy.
Awesome. Well, let's take a look at the scores from tonight. First, we have to congratulate Boston, our new entrant to the 90s club. 90.35, that's up 0.4, almost half a point over yesterday's score.
Yeah, I think, Boston had a fantastic show here in the studio. I mean, we were really impressed, and I thought that visually, musically, the entire ensemble did a really, really nice job, and I think they're certainly deserving of the score that they had tonight.
And then we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the tight race. Carolina Crown, obviously the host corps, the hometown favorite tonight, but wow, they really crept up on the Bluecoats. And then, the spread between Bluecoats and BD increased a little bit, more than a little bit tonight. So what do you make of that?
Well, it's hard to say until we take a look at the recaps, but, I think that, Crown being at the home show, I mean, certainly their adrenaline was high. It helped for them to go on to the very end. I thought Bluecoats also had a strong show tonight, but it'll be interesting to see how the recap breaks that down.
And then, of course, Cavies, Cadets, Phantom not scoring quite as high as they did last night at the regional in Atlanta, but that's fairly typical when we see these Tour of Champions shows. The judges have the opportunity to bump the top, but then they also tend to increase the spreads just a little bit, fewer drum corps. And so we sometimes see those scores drop just a little bit at the bottom.
Absolutely. There's a little more breathing room when you have only 8 corps versus 20 or 24 corps, and I think we saw that tonight. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
And not that the judges are ever cookie cutter with their scores, but you certainly see that same thing happen when you go from prelims to semifinals to finals. They have the opportunity to just spread things out.
Absolutely, and I think the judging community does the best job that they can at making sure that they're not prejudging shows, and so I think that they're really giving everybody the best chance that they can to go out and perform, make an impression, and then judge from there. So I think we'll see how it all turns out, and I think tonight maybe we saw a little bit of that happen since we're only looking at 8 corps versus the entire pack.
So just for the folks at home, if you missed the intermission edition of Taking the Field, it is still available on social media. All of our feeds are saved there. We're only going to break down the second half corps right now. So if you're curious what Josh and I had to say about the first half corps, go check out that taped version. Can we say that if it's the internet? It's not really taped
I think
anymore.
we still call it that,
Anyway, all right, let's get into it. First group of the second half, SCV. This show is quite the onion in that, if you'll pardon the phrase, in that there's so many layers to peel back, and one of the fun parts of this job is that I get to see these corps over and over again. And tonight I was just really struck by the complexity of some of the ensemble decisions they make in the duration of this show.
Yeah, well, musically and visually, they're taking significant risks, and I think that what Michael Gaines has done with the drill, what J.D. Shaw has done with the horn book, what Paul Rennick has done, with the percussion book, I mean, they're not really leaving anything left to the imagination. They're really going after the audience. They're captivating in every regard, and I think almost it's probably safe to say that no one does more with less. I mean, the corps is generally in the front part of the field for most of the production. Fantastic use of the props.
Very spare props, not super, decorated or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michael Rosales, who's the choreographer for Vanguard, I mean, does a fantastic job with layering effects and and textures and creating sort of the eye can always find something with their work, and I think that we're seeing that at a really high level here.
And there was a moment that struck me at the end. I've watched the end part how many times this season, but there's a moment where the props come together And what I had never noticed before is that the drum line actually splits there, and then the snares and tenors come around the prop. And I'm sure many of you at home are going, duh, we've watched this a million times, but it was the first time it really struck me. That's really hard to do on the field. And then the chorus spread out from 10 to 10 in the final part of the show. From a timing standpoint, that's a nightmare, and yet they pull it off seamlessly.
Yeah, I think that, they're playing to their strengths here. I mean, there's the guys who are teaching that group, have done a fantastic job all leading into this, and then I think that they're just sort of flexing their respective muscles and saying, we can do this, we can do it at a really high level, and it's impressive.
And they're getting rewarded for it. That's why we say it's not being lost in translation. The judges are grabbing a hold of all the things that they're putting out there. Yeah,
I think it's still a show to enjoy, but also to watch and see what other small things sort of come to life, in the remaining 18 days of the season.
And then moving on to Bluecoats, same thing. We're really able to appreciate a lot of stylistic and technical challenges, lots of different types of music on the field, lots of different ways in which the performers are being asked to do things that are musically a very high level of demand.
Yeah, well, what Doug Thrower does here with the brass book is I think he probably expands the musical palette stylistically and harmonically, maybe more so than anybody else this year. And what we're hearing from that brass section, I think, is really exceptional. I think that the inflection that the players are performing with, the soloists, I mean, everybody is catching the ear, and they keep your interest. And then certainly the vocalist is doing a fantastic job in this production. So I think that there's a lot to listen to, and I think thematically it's a very strong production.
And for better or worse, they make it look so easy that you almost overlook how just straight up hard. That's just hard.
Yeah, yeah. They've not made it easy on themselves, and I think visually as well. I think there's a lot of exciting things there. What John Vanderkoff, the drill designer, does, and what Jim Moore, the lead choreographer and sort of artistic director, what he does as well. I mean, it's a palette, musically and visually. I think that's really respectable, and it's fun to watch that program come to life.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to BD. Speaking of visual complexity, it's something that they're known for. I really appreciated the color guard tonight. They get staged front and center a lot in a lot of moments where, as a designer, you can make a choice. Am I going to put this effect where it's absolutely exposed if somebody makes a mistake, or am I going to stage it in such a way that we can maybe hide a bobble here or there? There is no hiding a lot of these color guard moments. They end the show with neon yellow flags front and center, everybody in a block. You're going to see if one of those flags isn't going up and down in time.
Yeah, absolutely, and they lean on that. I mean, that's been a strength of theirs for many, many years, and I think that one of the things that's creative about this program is they often use the color guard to stitch together transitions, as opposed to normally letting transitions help the color guard change things. So I think that that's something from a visual perspective that they do almost better than anybody else continuously, and they're not shying away from that here, and it's exciting to see it, and it's certainly a strength of the program.
And then we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Crown quite a bit tonight, the hometown favorite. This is their home show. I'm sure they had a really great crowd out tonight supporting what they call themselves, the Beast from the East.
That's right. Yeah, well, I mean, they were certainly exciting tonight, which is not any different than any other night. And I think maybe some of the strengths that we saw in the program this evening really came from the brass, as traditionally from Crown.
Right. This is a storied brass program. I hear a lot about the Crown brass sound. So tell me everything you know about Crown brass.
Well, we don't have that much time, but what I will say is that Michael Klesch, who's the brass arranger and has been there for quite some time, is no stranger to writing with a significant level of excellence. And then, of course, the brass staff there are really some of the best educators in the country, if not the world. And what Matt Harloff has built there since 2003 is really, really respectable. And I think that they have created sort of a unique signature in the activity that when you hear them, it's the Crown brass.
And I know a lot of students find that attractive. That's why they want to go there. They want to be part of the Crown brass. In the same way that me being a percussionist, I hear about students who want to drum for Angst or Hannum or for Rennick or for Skojo out west, and I hear from brass students that they want to be part of the Crown brass.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the great things about the activity now is that they're being taught by great educators who have a fantastic pedagogical foundation, and the idea is that these players can go and win any job, not just, a marching band gig or anything like that, but they're being trained to be, the best orchestral trumpet players in the business or whatever it might be. So I think that, to your point, that's exactly right. Players want to go there because they want to be a part of that signature, creation and those unique sounds that are happening there.
Yeah. So, again, just an exciting weekend of Drum Corps Atlanta and then Tour of Champions tonight. And it doesn't stop, but before we look ahead to next weekend, we had a special opportunity tonight for the fans to speak, the fan favorite poll. Shall I provide the entrance music? Fan favorite tonight, Carolina Crown, crowning a new fan favorite, but this one was tight tonight. Music City won the last two handily tonight. Phantom fans also represented. Crown won at 33.2%, but Phantom was close at 28.5%. Thanks to everyone who participated in the fan favorite poll. We really enjoy doing this with you, and we look forward to continuing it for the rest of the season. Looking ahead to Allentown, J. Bernie Crum. Drum Corps folks talk about how storied J. Bernie Crum is. Why is that?
Well, I think probably for a number of reasons.
Oh, and context, J. Bernie Crum is the stadium in Allentown, for anyone at home that doesn't know that. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, it's a historic stadium for a lot of different reasons. It's been a part of the Drum Corps activity fabric for so long. It has been traditionally the cadets' home show for so long. And so anything can happen there, and it's special because it's sort of the last big show before everybody goes into Indy, and with it being split up over 2 nights, it's really sort of a Drum Corps fan's dream. Like, I can go to one place, see everybody participate, at a really high level. It's in the Northeast, so the weather's a little nicer. It's not as hot.
It's not quite as hot as the lot in San Antonio.
That's right. And the old saying is that, J. Bernie Crum, she don't lie. And the idea there is that it shows exactly who you are, for better or for worse. And there's no question that next week's going to be a week full of exceptional Drum Corps. I think capped off with 2 great nights in Allentown. Folks, if you're there, go get a funnel cake for me. They're fantastic. That's right. Yeah, you can't argue with the culinary offerings of Allentown, Pennsylvania.
All righty then. All right. So on Friday night, here's the groups we're going to see: Music City, Cascades, Pioneer Troopers, Colt Scouts, Blue Stars, Phantom, Bluecoats, Mandarins, Blue Devils, capped off by SCV. Times have not yet been announced for either of these shows. Saturday is the other half of World Class: Genesis, Jersey Surf, Oregon Crusaders, Pacific Crest, the Academy, Spirit, Crossmen, Blue Knights, Crown, Boston, Cavaliers, and the Cadets. And of course, we'll be here with you in the studio with more taking the field both nights.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting time. I think that we're going to see some new things. I think that we're going to see the course continue to grow and get even more excellent. And there's no question that things are just going to continue to ramp up going into Indy.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, folks at home, for hanging out with us on this late Drum Corps night. Have a wonderful week. We hope to see you back on Friday.